event, right? The keynote speech. So let me introduce the keynote speaker. He is a graduate from Bitswilani. He is the founder of Toss the Coin, a B2B marketing company. He co-founded Jokes Apart with a fellow Toastmaster, Sridhar Ranganathan, to propagate light-hearted leadership. He started his Toastmaster journey in 2006. He is currently the chartered member of 360 Degree Toastmasters Club. Let me welcome DTM Jayan Narayanan on the stage.
Good morning. I'll get to wake up. So based on your response is how I'm going to wake up. On a Sunday morning, all of you have sacrificed your sleep and come here is unbelievable. But it's always very special to come back to Rising Pillars Toastmasters. I don't know, there's something strange about our connection. If there is a Guinness Book of World Records, I'll be the maximum speaker in all your milestone meetings, I guess. Because usually when I'm invited to a milestone meeting for one speech, they don't invite me after that. I don't know what to learn from this, but I'm glad you repeatedly invited me. But it's so special for me for many reasons, because here's where I learned creativity. I'm a big proponent of creativity. I will definitely refer to this a little later. But one thing that comes to my mind is one of the meetings when I was invited here for a keynote speech, education speech, not the keynote. It was in that school in Kekinnagar. Do you still attend there? Yes. Okay. There was one Toastmaster called Ganesh. He was a student from SSN College. How many of you know him? Unbelievable. He was a member of Rising Pillars. At that point of time, he was in his third year in SSN College. Very enterprising character, and he was playing the role of accountant. And as usual, I sat in one of the last rows, and I was not listening to all this because we have heard accountants telling the same thing again and again, so you don't want to really listen to that. This person was wearing a light orange kurta and a white bottom. He walked, stood on the stage, and then he said, my role, you didn't like what you just heard, right? I was like startled. And he said, this is what my role is. If any of you are going to make these unnecessary noises, ahs and ums, you very well know that the audience is not going to like it. So my job here is to identify these and then report. I found that to be really creative. He basically enacted what could be the real thing on stage for 10 seconds and made all of us realize how irritating it is to listen to a speaker like this. And I found this to be really weird because I've never heard any accountant do this in my entire career in Toastmasters. Why shouldn't anybody do that? Why shouldn't we think that, let me do this role differently? Why should I follow what everybody is doing again and again? And I've cited this example in many occasions. And if today, after so many meetings and so many years, if I am here talking about Ganesh and talking about what he wore that day, it, I think, teaches us something. If you see something different, you will notice beyond what was different. You will identify what made you feel different. And for me, Ganesh is a solid example. I don't notice what people are wearing. Even when I walk away, I don't think I'll be able to recollect. But that day, I don't know how all this got imprinted in my mind. It is because I appreciated somebody doing something differently that kind of visually settled in my head. So next time you have an opportunity to speak, I want you all to ask yourself, how can I do this differently? And what is the reason that we don't ask ourselves that question? Because we don't want to fail. Creativity starts with destruction. It's a line that I read and it stayed in my mind for a very long time. Creativity starts with destruction. So when you want to be creative, the first thing that happens in your mind is destruction. No, you can't try this. This is a proven formula. This is how an R counter should read. You should go and read like that. I'm just taking R counter as an example. It can be grammarian, it can be TMOD, any damn role in Toastmasters. Now, that is the reason Rising Pillars is very special for me. Another reason why this club is very special is one of the occasions when I was invited to speak. I was in my formal attire, so I wore my shoes, and in that school they asked me to remove the shoes before I enter. And it so happened that I wore a torn socks. And I was exposed. When I went and stood on that tiny stage, I knew very well that people are noticing my toe that is popping out of a hole in my socks. I was so embarrassed because I've never expected this situation to happen. But thankfully, that particular instance made me think, why not I convert this into my talk? And I started talking about how we all hide our shortcomings, thinking that nobody is seeing that. But there will be a time when you will be exposed. Be ready. So never hide. So I converted that into a speech. And some of the people thought, you mean you tore your socks and wore it just for the speech? I said, kind of. I looked for a torn socks and I wore it. I knew that you will ask me. So it is all about perception. That's the next thing that I want to stress upon. Perception. It is all about perception. If you look at reality, it can be something else. That day the reality was that I wore a torn socks, thinking that nobody will see it. But the perception that I gave was I came so well prepared. Went to the extent of finding a torn sock, or even somebody asked me, did you tear it? So look at the way people perceive, right? If I haven't told this today, even some people who have watched that speech that day would be thinking, wow, this guy is amazing. So the second thing that I want you to all keep in mind is perception. At this hall, I expected it to be a larger hall because 200th meeting, I know it happened in a hotel. Less budget these days. But it doesn't matter how big or small the hall is, how occupied the hall is. What matters is the kind of audience who are in this hall. I was sitting in the last row and I was just looking at this audience. Did you all notice there is a top 3 winner of ISC contest in the district sitting in this room? There is a past district director sitting in this room. There is a past division director sitting in this room. There is a current division director sitting in this room. There is a current area director sitting in this room. Where would you get this? What an amazing mix of leadership and communication experts are in this room. So what really matters is the quality and not quantity. And that's what I sat there and I learned. Amazing bunch of people in the room. So look at the collective wisdom in this room. I think that's what we need to be very proud of. How many of you are charter members sitting here? Oh, Bala, you were a charter member?
Other district.
Oh, okay. Of Rising Pillars. I knew that you were part of my club.
I was referring to the other district.
Other district, okay, charter member. There's only Vijayaraghvan, you're the only charter member sitting here. I think you.
Sudha, were you a charter member?
I was, I'm not a member currently.
No,
Charter member.
you were a charter member.
Yeah.
You existed when the club started on
Yes.
A big round of applause for us.
Sponsor of the club.
Sponsors of the club. You can hardly see charter members sitting in a 500th meeting. Meaning 5 years you've been associated with this club. Unbelievable. So now coming back to my title, when he asked me what is the title, Rising Pillars, I thought there must be something with rice. That's what we Toastmasters are all about. What do I talk? And I said, what is the most common keyword that is being used by all of us these days? AI. I thought rise with AI. Now I don't know what to talk about. Maybe some of you are wondering, oh, he'll talk about AI. So for the sake of the title, I'm going to mention AI here. How many of you have not used AI so far? You have not touched? So there are 3 humans in this room. Little bit. Right, yes sir. 3 humans and the rest of you are machine dependent. If I may say that. How many of you used AI for your speech script? Be honest. Yeah. When I said be honest, like we all are kind of AI natives. We can't do away with AI. You can't say, hey, no, I'm human, I don't want to use AI. Now the question is, how well can I use AI? And these days, when you look at LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, everybody is so good in English. Really good in English. In fact, today I was wondering, what is a grammarian has a role today? Everybody is going to be very polished today. So everybody is so good at written English. Written English. Great. At least it's nice to see good written English, and in the process we also learn. So there is a misconception that AI is taking away all the jobs, most of the jobs, taking away most of the jobs. If you look deeper, it is not taking away most of your jobs. It is glorifying your existing job. It is making it powerful. Now I tried using AI for speech scripts because many people bring their speech script for contest to me. And I spend hours together to just try and look at that speech. How do I rephrase it? I thought, why not use AI? So I feed the speeches into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, give me a better version of this. Surprisingly, it gives me a phenomenal version. And then I chat again with ChatGPT and tell, give me the delivery part of this. And it gives me a beautiful delivery output. Now give me a 7-minute version of this. So it concises the speech to 7 minutes. So multiple iterations, multiple prompts. Finally, I get a fabulous script. I send this back to the contestant. Oh, they profusely thank me. Oh my God, you're giving line by line, word by word. How should I pronounce? Where should I pause? Where should I stand? Unbelievable. Thank you for taking time to do this. I kept quiet. And another contestant came. I did the same thing. Another contestant came. I did the same thing. So my 20 minutes with ChatGPT, over 5 speech scripts reduced to 5 minutes. Because I started learning how to give the prompt to ChatGPT. And finally, I got some phenomenal outputs. And when I sent this back to them, all of them invariably were excited. Totally 6 of them. And that's when I was just thinking, now where is the difficulty? I just put some few bullet points and I feed it to ChatGPT or Claude, or it could be anything. And I get some fabulous output. I go ahead and present it and people love it. Where is the human piece in this? So how do we rise with AI, meaning make our life really great with AI, is to write your initial thought process. The thinking can never be taken by AI. That is why I talked about creative thinking in the beginning. I gave an example of Ganesh. I don't think AI will give this example to him. AI may give something creative, but that's not going to be original. And originality is getting lost these days with AI. And what I want you to do is please don't lose that originality. And combined with creative thinking, that originality cannot be replaced by AI. So if you could write a script, for example, I'm sure all of you would have heard Satya's speech at the district. If I have that script with me, what can I do with that script? And in AI, it is all about prompting. And we take prompting very easy. And I recently put a post on LinkedIn called Prompt Intelligence. It is all about prompt intelligence, and that's where the human intelligence comes to play. It all depends on how you prompt. Now, when I give the script to ChatGPT, for example, I try almost all the tools so that I take the best of the AI tools. Everything is free for us today. I tell ChatGPT or I tell the AI engine to behave like a Toastmaster, a member of the Toastmaster International, and boil down to the audience in Chennai and look at international speech contest, analyze all the winning speeches, and then give a suggestion without tweaking the script or the essence of the script, and give me a very powerful, impactful speech that has a strong message. So it can be a one long paragraph prompt. Now, why am I mentioning Chennai? One of the speeches that I fed using this keyword Chennai is that the script was altered comparing to Santom Church and Marina Beach. That was unbelievable. How could AI even go to that extent? So it is trying to connect with the audience. Now, had I not mentioned this, it would have probably given me reference to Eiffel Tower or Statue of Liberty. That's not probably going to connect with the audience as much as Marina Beach and Santom Church. And that is why it is important that you select these keywords so that the AI engine very clearly knows that this is the kind of audience, this is the kind of impact it has to have. International speeches are of certain format, so let me align those with those formats. Mind you, this AI engine has all the information. The moment you key in Toastmasters International, it exactly knows what the format is and how should the pause be, how should the stage usage be. Everything is fed in already, and that's the best part. So if you could use all of these keywords and use as many as possible and keep iterating at least 5 times, don't be happy with the output. We will be bold with the first output. Wow, this is far better than what I could ever write, but don't be satisfied. Now go ahead and say, hey, behave like an evaluator. Right? This is my speech. It is very similar to Pathway certain project. Mention that because it understands pathways. So, and ask it to further fine tune, right? And then talk about the kind of audience that will be there. And then finally talk about the ballot. This is the ballot. Look at the ISC speech ballot. You don't even have to feed the ballot. You need to tell ISC speech ballot, it has everything. And give me an evaluation report. Don't give me a script back. Give me an evaluation report. It will very clearly connect your speech with the ballot paper and then tell you, in this it is 10%, in this it's 20%, you're lagging behind in the organization of the speech and things like that. And it will say, sorry, I can't evaluate you for body language. Which was brilliant, right? I was like, wow, let me see what it says with that. Now you could even feed, you can speak to AI. That's the next thing, right? And imagine you delivering this speech to AI and it comes back saying your voice tone is not great, your voice pitch is not great, you may have to stand away from the mic and things like that. And AI is growing at a phenomenal pace. I don't know, it'll say, just move ahead, let me go and speak. You don't have to speak. So you never know when we will get into a situation like that. It is good to use AI. It all depends on how we use AI, but not lose our originality. And originality is the first script that you write. Now coming to the next part is creative thinking. World Economic Forum in their latest report have mentioned that creative thinking is one of the top 3 skills that employers are looking for. Top 3 skills. And if you look at the past 10 reports, creative thinking was number 25 in 2015 report. By the time it was 2024, it climbed number 3. Now more and more importance is given to creative thinking. Now what is creative thinking? How many of you are creative here? Some of you are thinking, I don't know what the next question is going to be. Let me be careful. Come here. I'll be asked to display my creative thinking. So let me be. And then some of you maybe like a little creative. So I've never seen people raise like this. It's always like ambiguity racing, right? But let me tell you, we all are creative. We are born creative. We are absolutely born creative. Now I do an exercise where I ask people to draw a pig. So many years ago, I was creating this PPT and I wrote draw a pig in that slide. My second son, he was 6 years then, he came and stood right next to me and I didn't notice him. I went on to build my rest of the slides. After 10 minutes, he came running with an A4 size paper and said, Daddy, pig. I thought, when did he see that? And that pig was pink in color. It had green grass, a nice little white fence, and a tree, and some birds on the sky. When I do this exercise with adults, when I say draw a pig, I know all of you are now thinking, how does a pig look like? And every time I ask them to draw a pig, they all stare at me. I feel so demotivated. I say, no, I'm not your inspiration. What comes to your mind when I say draw a pig? You're just looking at a pig, right? Let me quickly draw a pig. Either the pig is facing like this, or the left, or the right, and 4 legs. The standard things come to our mind and we draw the pig and say, I've drawn the pig. I've never ever seen anybody draw anything beyond a pig. A kid had the same instruction, goes and draws everything that can make it look so nice, including coloring. Forget the coloring, you don't have color pencils today, so forget it. But why are we adults not thinking on those lines? As a kid, each one of us would have done the same thing. And that is why I keep repeating again and again that as a kid we all were creative. Over time we became adulterated. Isn't it? Not that we don't know how to draw a lawn there or a tree or a fence. It's just that we have become instruction takers. We have stopped thinking. And creative thinking is there inside us. And a quick question, how's it going so far?
Good, great.
Great. You think you're thinking? No. It's a template. Good morning? Good. Happy birthday? Thank you. You don't say same to you. You don't repeat them. These are templates. How are you? Fine. Templates. Are you really fine? No. Fine. Right? Templates. Now the brain has stopped thinking. It is saying from past experience, I know for the question, how are you? It is fine. Don't come and keep asking me every time he's asking, how are you? What should I answer? I've given you a template. Use that fine and get lost. Now, this is the problem with all of us. We've stopped thinking, and the brain has stopped thinking. I'm going to ask the same question. If you don't mind, I can take 2 more minutes. Yeah? I'm afraid his hands will pain, and I will feel 2 more minutes. I'm going to ask this question all over again. This time, I want you to construct one long sentence. How's it going so far?
Yeah, you are running short of time.
So can you get off the stage, please? Okay, any kind-hearted people? One long sentence.
I'm wondering how I can use the prompt intelligence that I've not explored so far.
I'm wondering how to use prompt intelligence that I have not explored so far. Now, was it a template? No. You told the brain, think. That's why there was a pause after I asked this question. The first time I asked, oh, good. Let's a pause. Now I'm going to give you one more chance. This time again, one long sentence. Use the word pathetic and horrible. How's it going so far?
It's not pathetic. It's not horrible either.
Either. Okay.
If I use, how will pathetic and horrible it will be?
If I?
If I were there, how pathetic
And horrible it will be. Vijayaraman, I'm not going to ask you. I'm afraid. Anybody else? Satyam?
I was about to say the same thing what he mentioned. How it would have looked if had I been there on the stage. Maybe by the take, maybe horrible. Thank God.
You never know. Yeah. Yes.
My day started actually, it was very pathetic and horrible because 2 of my rides got cancelled and I did not get an auto. Finally, I managed to get an auto and came here and it was so good listening to you after a very long time.
Great, fantastic. Now, why didn't we say that? Oh, you have? I'm scared. When I look at it, I thought he was raising his right hand, so I thought you were threatening me.
So I'm still horrible that whether you are going to answer the questions continuously.
Oh, you're feeling horrible that I continuously and put us in a fix? Not really. Why didn't we think of this one the first time? Was it difficult? Now, the last one was difficult for your brain. The prompt that you gave your brain was construct one long sentence, sound positive, but use negative words. Very difficult for the brain to process. But did it find it difficult? No. It immediately processed. The next time you post with a question, do not use AI. Use your brain. Use your creative thinking. Ask only one question. How can I do this differently? You will see your brain performing phenomenally well. Thank you very much for your time.
One question, please. Since I know you are.